Okay. Hi, everybody. Hello. Greetings. It's your favorite auditor, Shannon. Hi, Midwest Night Watcher. You're such a great and valuable mod. So thank you so much for being here. This is for fun, y'all. So I do hope that everybody comments, that y'all get involved. And what we're doing is a little experiment. And let me tell you how it started. I was looking at trying to put some time frames together from when the so-called St. Louis Scientology squirrel. Good to see you as always. I know you have a story or two. So hi mods, Michelle and Reese, Z News. Hey guys. Can you see the chat, Kat?
I can.
Good. Okay. So anyway, I just want to tell you that I was feeling a little bit, hi, wise mama. I was feeling a little bit worn out, a little bit, not, yeah, maybe a little cynical with some things that I've been seeing in the background going on lately. It's all new to me. So I watched an old interview when Aaron first interviewed me about the opening in Chicago of the Less Than Ideal org. And I was so happy and hopeful, and I was overwhelmed and nervous, but I was also like so cheery and relaxed about the whole thing. And I've gotten kind of a little bit high strung about some of this stuff. So this is my effort to create something that's relaxing and fun for you guys, for us. Most of our stories are coming from viewers, and most of them are from Never Ends, which I'm so excited to be able to represent Never Ends on my stream, being one of them myself. So we're going to do this every week at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. And I'm really excited to see this turnout today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hi, Wise Mama. And let me just say that we have one of our very own favorite members and viewers, Kat ACD fan, who has never done this before ever. And she has extremely courageously agreed to be our very first storyteller. And she has an unusual story, a surprising story about Scientology. And I don't want to just say, go, Kat. So first I'll say, welcome, Kat. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
You're welcome, and you're really brave because it's so scary the first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're doing great. So, okay. Um, I am going, if you guys have questions or comments, please say question or comment, and I will, Midwest will help me, right? Mark those things, and I will try to keep my eye out for it too. And in the meantime, we are going to talk about, Kat's going to start with some background about how this whole story came to be. So I'm just going to turn it over to our very own beloved Kat ACDC fan. Kat?
Okay, thanks, Shannon. All right, so I was chit chatting with my chiropractor. We're pretty good friends, and he's always asking me what I've been up to. And so this was several months ago, and I said that I was getting that I had been pretty hot and heavy into the whole cults, not just Scientology, but several of the others too, mostly Scientology. And he had said that. Well, you need to talk to my receptionist then because she knows all about that kind of stuff. So I went, okay. I'm thinking, well, maybe she's done a lot of research and whatever. I didn't really know what to expect. And so I went, got done with my session, and I went out there and I said, hey, your boss tells me that you know about Scientology and that. And she goes, well, I should. I was in it for 30 years. And I just went, Wow. I don't think I've ever met a Scientologist before, or at least one that never admitted that they were a Scientologist. Um, and I'm like, I said that we should get together and talk if she was up for it, if she wanted to. And she said, sure, sure. Um, so I leave and I get in my car and I immediately call my son because he's the only one that knows all about all of this. And I'm just freaking out on the phone with him. I said, you're never going to believe this, right? And and so since I only have an appointment like once a month, and time goes by, so a few months have gone by, and so then fast forward to 2 weekends ago, one of my girlfriend from Canada says that she needs some help from me cleaning out her garage. And this about every 3 months or so, I go up to visit anyway, just to visit. And then also when she needs my help, she really doesn't have a lot up there for that. And I've been doing it for years now. So, and it's
Okay,
only in
and
an
you have
hour.
to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think. Did you mention that you have to actually cross a customs border to get there, right?
Yeah, first there's our side because I take a ferry and it's an hour and a half ferry. So
Okay.
yeah, they just ask you how long you're going to be there. They give you a declaration that you have to fill out for the Canadian side. And
Okay.
so you fill that all out and then it's an hour and a half ferry ride over. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm getting on the ferry and I'm trying to find a seat and I hear this Kathy, and I'm like, and I look and it's her. She's on the ferry, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So I go, hey, can I come sit with you? And she's like, sure. And so I go over there, and she was just going for the day. She's moving back to Canada. She used to be a Canadian, and then she was in the States and she was going there to live with her sister, and all she was doing was setting up her checking account and that things that needed to be done ahead of time, before she could actually make the move, because she was actually moving to the way eastern Canada, and this is way western Canada, but she could do what she needed to do here, right?
Okay. So is she? This is the Scientologist we're talking about, right? Just shows up
Mhm.
on the
The
ferry out of the
receptionist.
blue.
Yeah, the
Okay. And
receptionist. She
she
just sorry.
and she was she leaving Scientology, or
Oh,
she's
she'd
just
been out. No,
okay. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm
Gotcha.
sorry. Yeah, she was in it for 30 years, but she'd been out
Gotcha.
for years.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So she was in every end. Um, and so I had said, okay, well, we'll drive you wherever, you need to go once we get on the other side, right? So then I'm like, after we got done talking for a while, then I said, okay, so how this Scientology thing, right? And so she tells me her story, and it was in the 70s, and she was searching for the meaning of life back then. I mean, just about everything that she said was just so has been heard so many times in different eras, or different decades, or whatever what was going on. And she was a way introvert. Like she would be like, people would think she was standoffish at parties and this. And somebody said, hey, I know this great course on communications that you can take, and it's a really good excuse me, I need a drink. Just a minute.
Okay. Take your time. Yeah, it's always they always try to get you with those early courses. Like, yeah. Uh-huh.
Hmm. Okay, and she said it worked fantastic. It was just the best thing ever, and so she figured that if this program was that wonderful, then wow, this religion must just be wonderful also. So she decided to so she joined, and so did a lot of her, well, not a lot, but some of her friends joined too. And it was a few years in, and she'd go in to take courses, And in the back of her mind, it always reminded her of I don't know if I can say it, like the bad part of Germany. You know, the how they used to be with the, you know, the guy with the, I don't know if I can say these words. I know some people you can't say.
Yeah, you can't really.
Yeah.
But
So
I know what you
anyway,
mean.
but it reminded her of this because they were
Okay.
just so regimented and mean. And
Yeah.
she was like, wow, I can't believe this is how they have to get their message across. But she was like,
Yeah.
well, oh, I guess so. um, and then they decided after a few years that they wanted her to move to LA. She said she has
Okay.
no idea why. So
Hmm.
now she's away from her family and any other friends that she had there,
Hmm.
right? And they got her a visa. And of course, this visa wouldn't allow her to make any money. And so now everyone in her
Right.
life is a Scientologist. I mean, she said like dentist, hairdresser, everybody she worked with or knew or did business with was a Scientologist.
Right.
And um and now she knows, I don't know when it dawned on her when she found out that she would lose everybody if she were to get out, because she's really having a lot of questions by now. But she feels like she's just trapped. I mean, she can't make any money. She wouldn't have anybody to help her. So she's just stuck and, you know, and doing this. So and then at some
So
point
this
she made.
must have been like, oh, I was just going to say, this must have been like a religious volunteer visa, I'm guessing.
Pardon me?
Because they can't make money, but they are allowed to stay. For the
Yeah,
religious
so I don't,
volunteer visa, that's what
I
they
think it's
typically
like a
get them.
religious, yeah, like a religious you sort of visa. But I know she said she wasn't allowed to make any
Yeah,
money. Yeah. So they, you know, they've just
right.
got her. Um and at some point along here, she made friends with a guy that was starting a vitamin business. Now I think she said his name was Bob, but I'm not positive. And she helped him a lot to get his business going, and he started making
Okay.
millions. And Scientology had their businesses or businesses that they knew of
Good
sell
for
his product. And of course, all this money was going to Scientology because he was donating all of it, right? And he was a big deal at the time. And then once his sales started to go down and it wasn't happening and he wasn't able to donate like he had been, they
it.
had
Hmm.
all the businesses drop him because now they weren't getting their money. And so they just devastated him. He just totally went under. And it was just things like this that she just kept seeing that just made her go, uh-uh. She reminds me of Tori Magoo. The hair
Okay.
is the style, the color, the glasses. She's a rebel.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
was a hippie back in the day. I mean,
Right.
it's the
Right.
similarity. So every time when I'm talking to her, I can just hear Tori, coming out of her, But so anyway, let's see, where was I? So now it's like the early 2000s. And most of her friends have gotten out by now too. So at least she had them, when she got out. So it wasn't just a total on your own with nothing. And she also
Yeah.
met Aaron a few times when she was Aaron Smith Levins when she was in LA um, at,
Okay.
at, at events that they would have, and she would talk with him and said that he was just the nicest guy. And I said, well, would he know you? And she goes, well, I'm sure to see me, but she's pretty sure not by her name. Would probably wouldn't know her. And I'm like, well, he's pretty good with names, but I don't know if he ever really knew, what her name was. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, that was. Um, so anyway, she's still in the States, and like I said, now she's moving back, to Canada. And so that was pretty much her story. That's all, because then we got there, and so then that was just kind of the end of it. Um, so now we get off, and I told her that we'd take her where she needed to go. I think I already said that, but so we get off the boat, and it's my turn, and I'm talking to the agent, just like normal. And they ask me the usual questions. How do I know who I'm going to see? How long? What am I going to be doing? And now he's looking at the declaration that I'd filled out, which asks things like, have you brought any fruit? Have you brought
Yeah.
any things that could hurt people?
Yeah.
All these, which of course is all no, just your typical declaration that you make. So he says, I've got a few more questions about your declarations. I'm going to have you go sit down over here.
Uh-oh.
Just fuck. I was like, okay. And I passed my friend, the ex Scientologist, because she's standing with another agent, and I go, they're taking me in. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so I go in this room, and and I'm sitting there forever. And I ask somebody, is this where I'm supposed to be? And they're like, no, you have to come over here. So I go over there. And then a while later, this great big agent comes out, and gorgeous guy though. um, and So that was kind of nice. And he says, okay, and I need you to come back in this room here. And it's just um, like a concrete bench. And then there's like this plastic plexiglass that's between you and them. And he says, leave all your stuff here, but you
Right.
can keep your phone. And I'm like, okay. And so then he puts on these blue surgical gloves. And I'm sure my eyes popped freaking out of my head, right? Now, he didn't do it, that wasn't for me. But my first thought
Thank
was,
God.
holy moly's. And so he went through absolutely all of my stuff. I mean, tore it all apart. He went through my toiletry bag, and I've got my pills in the container. And he's like, do you have the bottles for these? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, you're supposed to, because you could be, smuggling, stuff. And I'm like, okay. But he let that go, but he went through it all, went through my bag I had, my purse, my suitcase. And then, of course, it's all out. And then he's like, okay, you can put this all away and then come back out here again. So I'm having to put everything all back inside everything. And I walk in the other room where I had been before. And he says, okay, I'll be right back. And so he leaves again. He still has my license in the declaration. And then he comes back, and he hands me my license, and he says, okay, do you have any questions for me now? And I said, yeah. Why? That's all I could think. It's like, why? And he's like, well, we had some more questions about your declaration. And I had to have heard that at least 3 times, but never ever was I asked any more questions about my declaration. So
Right.
I was like, okay. And so and the whole time, well, in between times, I'm texting my girlfriend, oh my God, I'm still here. And now I'm all done. I'll be coming out. And so I leave, and I'm worried about my friend, the ex Scientologist, because I told her we would take her where she needed to go. Right. And I don't see her anywhere.
Right.
And so I
Right.
go, and like I said, my girlfriend comes down the parking lot there, and she goes, "Are those the thugs that searched you?" And I look, and the 3 guys that had been involved with asking were standing outside there watching me as I get in my girlfriend's car, and I'm like, "Get us the F out of here!" Right? And she said, "Oh, and your friend saw me and came and knocked on my window and said, are you waiting for Kathy?" And she said, yeah. And she says, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go. and so, I'm like, okay, well, so she left. And now I'm worried did she make it there? I mean, is there some reason? And then, of course, the more I thought about it, the more the old conspiracy things start popping up in my head, and I'm just getting more and more. It's like, what in the world? Um, and so then it was okay. So I was up there for 3 days, and I came back, and coming back across the border was a piece of cake, and then the next day I went into the chiropractor office because I don't have any way to call her. We didn't exchange any information or, anything.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, please be working because I'm like, I have to know that they didn't abscond
Yeah.
you or
What
something.
happened? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so she said, yeah, no. She says, I'd waited quite a while there for you. And so then I just thought, well, I'm just going to walk. And I found your friend and I told her. And so then I left. And she goes, I wondered if it was because of me that you got pulled in. I'm thinking, well, I was kind of wondering the same thing myself, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, she made it, and I'm fine, and all that. So there you go. That's kind of that's kind
That's
of my
the story.
that's, that's the
That's
story.
sort of incredible. Had anything like that happened to you before at the border? You've
Never, ever.
never.
And it's the same thing, the same girlfriend, the same thing. What I'm getting, she's had a flood before, and I helped her with her flood, and I told them that when that happened. Sometimes I'm just going up to visit, and this has been going on for years.
And who
And
went through customs first? You or her? You or the
her,
Scientologist? She
the
did.
Scientologist, went through first.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
were you right behind her?
I was.
Okay. So there's a question. This is a good question from Michelle and Reese. Michelle is our wonderful moderator, and Reese is her puppy. So she says, was this woman Sea Org? Or was she
See,
staff or public? What was she? Do you know?
I don't know, but she did say that she hardly paid any money. That was one thing. She was not, she didn't donate. She didn't, so I don't know what that would have made. She went in for courses. Um,
Hmm.
and how would, somebody that was in for that long, she did say she would feel kind of guilty at times because she did come into some money, but she didn't tell him about it. I don't even
Yeah.
know that I don't even know that she did the cans, we didn't get into that. And
Auditing?
that was something, oh, sorry. That was something that I wished and she may have said, and I just may not have remembered. It was, we were on the ferry, and
Yeah.
it was pretty packed, and so
Yes.
and she was talking really loud. I think maybe she's a little hard of hearing. So the whole time I was kind of, geez, I don't know if these people want to be hearing this or not, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's always another time too, right? You could
yeah.
always
Well, until
you,
she moves to
you
Canada, so
could
that's the
always do
thing.
it on another time. Okay. Is she gone now?
No.
Is she gone permanently to Canada? No, not yet. Okay. So here's a question. Can you see it?
Yes.
Why do you think they stopped you? Do you think it was random?
I don't know. The only thing that was different between all the other times, and I mean, tens and tens of times, the only thing different was talking with this ex Scientologist. So, I mean, and it could have been my
Wow.
time, they flipped a coin and this was the time for me. They didn't pull anybody else in.
Right.
So yeah.
Interesting. I'm sure the conspiracy theorists will go nuts with that one. But it's not like, she didn't come back.
Yeah, exactly.
So Michelle and Reese, I almost got chosen for an extra pat down going through security at the airport. One could only hope. I wish I got an occasional Pat down. Okay, so let's see. There was another couple of things. That was a good story. I mean, just totally random, right? Are
Just
you planning
totally.
on meeting with her again?
I hope so.
What's
Before she
that?
moves, I
I
hope
hope so
so.
too.
Yes. Oh, so I have many questions that that I knew I'd be asked, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There's a couple other things I wanted to show you. Here you go. This is from my buddy St. Louis Scientology Squirrel. Brave work, she says. So good job, Kat. That was such a good, what a great way to start, you know?
Oh,
These are the kind of stories we're going to do. Weird, mysterious, surprising, funny, whatever you guys have got, we're going to listen to it. I've got somebody set up for next week, and we could potentially do two of them easily in 30 minutes. So keep them coming, guys. Anything else you want to say, Kat?
no, I think that's it. Other than the fact that I absolutely love everybody, and this has been quite a journey to been on since about October of 22 is when we heard about the Danny Masterson trial through actually Andrew Gold, I believe, is because we just got YouTube, and he happened to come up and mention Danny Masterson, and we loved the '70s show. I mean, we were huge fans of that.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it was wow. Wow, wow, wow. And then he had Aaron Smith Levins on, and that was it. That's been the beginning of our journey.
Yep, for a lot of us, you're not alone in that. When you
Yeah.
say we, you're talking about your son, right?
Yes.
Yourself
Yes.
and your son, yeah. I got to meet her son before we started. Hang on one second. Echo, stop. Sorry, the news started. Echo, stop. Okay. Michelle said, I wonder if she watches SPTV, meaning the Scientologist. Did she mention that?
Yes, she did. She says she's seen Aaron a few times, and she was pretty much blown away. She said one thing that her and her group, she says, did not know about was the abuse. They were totally oblivious now as far as the regimen and the meanness and all of that, but not the abuse. And so that really blew her out of the water when she heard about that. And she's watched him a few times and a few others. Yeah.
Do you know if she's ever considered speaking out publicly? Did you talk about that?
No, but I did ask her if it was okay if I told her story, and she said
Mm-hmm.
sure. She had no problem with that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh,
So maybe
I would.
soon.
That would be awesome if she would. I would love to have you have her on your channel. That would.
Or on your channel.
Oh,
Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay, so Michelle wants to say she really loves the raven on your wall, which we were discussing before in the green room. Tell them about the
oh,
raven.
yes. Can you tell us the poem by Edgar Allan Poe? Quote the raven nevermore. Anyway, that's on there. Thanks. I just got it, and I thought with the lamp. There we
Very
go.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It'll look kind of
So Shiro says, great interview. And let's see what else, guys. Thank you for sharing your Scientology story with us. And you are natural. Indeed, you are, my dear. So bring your friend, and the two of you can come on together if you like, or you could do it on your own if you feel like it. I mean, up to you.
Sure, thanks. I'll definitely ask her about it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being our first and so far our most popular and best storyteller. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, thank you. Do I have to
Really,
do
Kat.
anything on do I have to do anything on my end? Sorry.
Just stay there for a minute, if
Okay.
you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, thanks a lot for showing up, for coming in. We have a great crowd tonight. Everybody loves Edgar Allan Poe, right, Midwest? And so thank you so much for having the courage to do this first. And also, guys, this is a chance for us to chat a little with one another. I can almost completely focus on the chat. I can see it perfectly, which you know how I love to talk to y'all. So this is great for me. I really hope you enjoyed it. And tune in next week for more story time from the hood. So we'll see you then. Thanks again, you guys. You're welcome.
Oh, here's my
Thanks. Have a good
ACDC
evening. Bye
tattoo.
bye. See you next
You
week.
want to you
Be
want to see my
good.
tattoo?
Yes.
Anyway, okay.
It's hard, isn't it? You'll figure
Yeah,
it
I
out. We'll
know.
show it next time.
Yeah,
Bye,
yeah.
guys. Bye bye. We love you.